Hi guys, today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make some super simple chocolate chip cookies from scratch. I know usually when people hear from scratch they think it's going to be a lot more complicated than it needed to be, but I promise you this is extremely easy. Anybody could do it no matter what their baking level or skill or experience is. I promise you, just watch this and you will realize how easy this actually is. So if you want to learn how to make these chocolate chip cookies, just keep watching. Okay guys, so this is basically all you're going to need to make these chocolate chip cookies. Like I said, this is super simple, and just for shits and giggles, I already measured out the flour, brown sugar, and regular sugar, just for time's sake, I guess. I use these chocolate chips basically just because the recipe's on the back. This is not some family recipe. This is just a recipe that's on the back of the chocolate chip cookies. So what you're going to need is 2 1/4 cups of flour. I used 1 1/2 just because I want the cookies to be a little bit fluffier and not as flat, which is just a personal preference. And then you're going to need some baking soda, salt, butter, the 2 sugars. You're going to need brown sugar and regular sugar, the same exact amount, which is 3/4 cups. And then you're just going to need some vanilla, 2 eggs, and then, of course, your chocolate chip cookies, which is a little bit obvious. But you know, some people just don't understand obvious. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to put your salt, flour, and baking soda in a smaller bowl. So this, like I said, is just 2 1/2 cups of flour, and you're just going to need a teaspoon of salt. What I like about this recipe is that all the smaller measurements are in teaspoons, so you're just going to measure this out. It looks like a lot of salt, but when you think about how sweet it's going to be, you definitely need this teaspoon of salt. And then, of course, you're just going to need a teaspoon of baking soda. You don't want to put baking powder because obviously the recipe doesn't call for that, but I feel like I've done that at some point in my lifetime. So you're just going to put that all in one bowl. Just going to mix it. Just distribute that shit all up in here. And you're just basically going to put this aside because now you're going to, next step is just mixing everything else that you didn't put in that smaller bowl into your mixer. So I usually just start with the butter. Just want to, this butter has been out for a little bit. It's not super soft and it's not like liquid. I guess the way it feels, I could have left it out a little bit longer. Pero ni modo. Probably not leave the paper in there. That'd be smart. So next one. And like I said, you're just going to need 2 packages of butter. If only I could open them. And then I'm just going to mix that just to soften them just a little bit. Be smart if I lower that. Add in the regular sugar. And the brown sugar, which was both 3/4 cups. And then I'm going to mix. Oh wait, I'm going to put the vanilla in. Because these things are mostly in the mixer right now. They're dry ingredients, and this, like, I guess makes it obviously a little more wet, which is how it's supposed to be. Once again, that is just a, probably shouldn't make a mess, but that was just a teaspoon. I'm going to wipe that because that's ugly. You don't want ugly kitchen. Now we're just going to mix that once again. Or baking, I like to just get a, I don't know if this is silicone, but a softer spatula and just scrape the sides, and just to make sure everything is getting mixed well. I can tell there's a little bit of sugar not getting mixed at the very bottom, so I just want to take it off the mixer and just give it a couple seconds to mix again. First, you gotta not be a dumbass, and you gotta lift this up so it gets the batter. Okay, so that was just super quick, and we still have not added the eggs, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna add the eggs one at a time though. So, there's one. And we are just going to mix that once again. Okay, so I'm just going to scrape the sides again, and then we're going to add the other egg. Then, of course, we are going to mix it all up again. So now we're just going back to our flour mixture, the one that had the salt, baking soda, and flour, and we're just going to gradually add this in. I just grabbed a big serving spoon. You can pretty much get whatever you want. This just is what works for me, so you do it as gradual as you want, but I'm going to put about a quarter, maybe a little bit less than half in here. Oops. There you go. And we're just going to mix that again. So our batter's pretty well mixed. I just want to give it a good scrape and then put it on medium to high. Since there is no more flour, you can put it a little bit higher and not worry about the powder getting everywhere. So we're just going to scrape this and then put it on high for a couple seconds, or medium high. Whatever floats your boat. Either way, as long as you just make sure everything is well mixed and there's no more flour at the bottom or on the sides. Now here comes the best part, where we spice things up, and we're just going to add this whole bag of chocolate chips. So I'm going to add, like I did with the flour, this isn't in the recipe, but I like doing this. I'm going to add about half the chocolate chips now, stir it, and then I'm going to add them right now in a little bit. And this would be the point where you want to add any nuts, anything like that, any special things. You can add half chocolate chips, half M&Ms. You could just add M&Ms, whatever floats your frickin' boat. But I'm just doing chocolate chips because, you know, basic bitches like basic things. And then you're going to need, or you don't need these, this is just an option. They're just little, they kind of like ice cream scoops, but they're cookie scoops. Out of these three sizes, I'm just going to use the medium one. I'm pretty sure I got this at Fry's or some shit like that. I don't know. You can probably find them at Target, anything like that. It's not really hard to find them. So all you're going to do is just scrape your batter or your cookie dough, and you're just going to place them on your cookie trays. I don't spray mine and I don't put parchment paper on because my mom is basically a Mexican Betty Crocker, and she has just a shit ton of good baking supplies, and these are non-stick, and I've never had a problem with cookies or anything like that sticking to them, so I'm not going to make things harder than need it to be. If they're fine like this, then they're fine like this. So we're just going to do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, now all I'm doing here is just loading up my extra cookie sheets. That way they're all set and ready to go. And I put the first batch of cookies in for 10 minutes, but when I checked them at 10 minutes, I just figured they could use an extra minute and a half, so that's what I did. And this is me taking them out after the 11 and a half minutes, and they were nicely golden brown, which is exactly what I wanted. So then I just put the other cookies from here on out for 11 minutes. And then, so I just put the cookies that I just took out of the oven on the cookie sheet, which I believe I got from Pampered Chef, and I really enjoy it. I use it for more than just cookies. I've used it for pies, cakes, just anything that I take out of the oven that I want to cool pretty fast, so it gets air underneath it and makes it cool just faster than it normally would if it was just set on the counter on the stovetop. And then from here, all you're doing is just taking the cookies out, putting the new cookies in, putting the cookies on the cookie rack, and that's about it. Just as simple as that. Really, the moment of truth, I have not tried it other than the cookie dough, so just a good old glass of milk, and we're just dunking it. I don't think no one needs to be told what to do on this. Eat your cookies how you want. I actually think I'm lactose intolerant, so whatever. This is so good. Have you guys ever seen Bizarre Foods when every time he takes a bite, he goes, ugh. That's how I feel right now. Like, every time I'm going to take a bite of this cookie, I'm just going to be like, ugh. Like, man, I never fucking tried this in my life. But if you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down on the video. Feel free to share, like, and subscribe. Do what you want. There's no pressure. If you don't, I'm not going to even know. So, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. I was supposed to start a diet a long time ago, and then I was like, oh my gosh. I'm just going to pretend like my cookie's not at the bottom. This one's like still hot and fresh. This just makes me so happy. I think when I eat, I am the most at peace. I'm the happiest.